Fit for Life Radio, coming back at you after a little hiatus from popular demand. That's at least what we tell ourselves.
Yeah, we just say that the people wanted it, so
back on the airwaves.
We're back.
So today we're here, myself, Gary, and Will.
What's up?
And we are going to be just going to dive right in. We're going to talk about a common question, a common thing on people's minds, a source of lots of confusion, which is, quote unquote, what's the best diet? All right, so
what is the best diet?
What is the best diet? Now, really, there is no best diet. What people think or want there to be is just this blanket rule that just fixes all their problems. So, right now a popular one is the keto diet, right? So, but let me propose this situation to you, which we all know. So, how is it that you can meet someone who says, "Oh my gosh, I went vegan and I lost a ton of weight. I feel so much better. My knees started aching. It's the greatest thing ever," right? Then literally you could the next day or the same day talk to someone else who said, "Oh my gosh, I went and did a carnivore diet. I lost a ton of weight. I feel so much better. I have more energy. My knees stopped hurting. This is amazing. You have to do it." And then you think, the vegan diet literally is a diet where you cut out all animal foods.
Just straight opposite.
Then the carnivore diet is literally a diet where you cut out all plant foods. But then people talk, there's success stories with all of them, right? So, and then obviously then you have your paleo diet, your, Mediterranean diet, your, all your juicing cleanse diet, your, a million different things. So then this can be overwhelming. And what really happens is people bounce around between all the extremes, or they'll do it until they can no longer do it and return back to their old habits. So what's really going on here? So to kind of answer it right away, the best diet is, there is no best diet overall. It's really finding what's sustainable for you, right? So what's going on with these diets? Why can two polar opposite diets have the same positive benefits and effects on people? Well, it simply breaks down to, there is no magic foods. That's basically principles. And here's the thing, specific foods typically, that's not what drives health. Our body composition drives health. So if you think of an arrow and you have food, and then that's pointing to body composition. So our food, controlling our food intake affects our body composition, and then our body composition has the biggest effect on our health, right? So that's why you can have two polar opposite diets, and really what happened is the people lost weight. So then when you lose weight, your knees and body aches are probably going to feel better because there's less weight to carry around with you all day. You're eating less, so you have less digestive stress. Your body can have more time and energy to do other things it needs to do, and it got you in a calorie deficit, which is how you lose weight, right? So those are the principles. That's what you want to find out. So really, the best diet for you is any diet where you can get in a calorie deficit and sustain it, and it's livable, right? Too many people think, fat loss diet, I got to be on this special diet to lose fat, and then I can just go back to what I'm doing. Well, no, really, we're always on a diet, no matter whatever you're eating now.
You eat.
Exactly. So if right now you eat Pop-Tarts for breakfast, McDonald's for lunch, and a peanut butter sandwich for dinner, you're dieting. That's your diet.
It's just too many calories.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
And it's a 13-year-old's diet, but so really, and if say you're eating like that, and maybe you snack or do whatever, and you're 220 pounds, then your diet is supporting a 220-pound body weight, right? So really, when you're like, I need to lose weight, and you go on this diet and you start losing weight, eventually, that diet then you may get down to 180 and stay there. So that's the diet that in the calorie intake that it takes to maintain that new body weight.
To be that new person.
So you have to understand, anything you do, what we like to say is what gets you there keeps you there. So if you don't feel like you can sustain what's what you're doing to get there, then it's probably not going to work long term. So that's something you definitely want to think about, right? So, and here's the thing, right? That doesn't mean any diet's bad, right? So if you do a carnivore diet or you do a vegan diet and you hop on it and you love it and it's easy, you love the food you get to have, and by cutting out certain foods, it just makes it easy. I don't eat these foods, and that helps get me in a calorie deficit, and that's awesome. That's the best diet for you. It's sustainable, right? But if you're someone who kind of does one of those diets and you hate it and you're miserable, but then you feel bad, I need to feel miserable, I need to be suffering. No, you don't. There's going to be trade-offs. You're going to have to get in a calorie deficit. You're ultimately going to have to eat less, but you can still include favorites, so
I think people get too married to thinking that there's something about the keto diet, a magic thing about it is what makes you lose weight. And same thing with the carnivore or the vegan. Because I stopped eating meat or, only ate meat, whatever it is, that's the magic pill. When really, like you said, they're all just ways to get in a calorie deficit, and that's the only magic that there ever was and will be, is that you're just eating less food. So, kind of not tying yourself so much to, if I'm not eating vegan, I'm going to stop losing weight. Or, if I'm eating the carnivore diet and I have carbs, I'm magically going to gain a bunch of weight. Really, it's just, how do I eat less and maintain that? And, you were saying find what works. That's it. That's literally all it is. Find what you can sustain. And if your best friend does great on keto, and you find that doing keto makes you binge eat on the weekends just because, you're like, oh my God, I need carbs or whatever it may be, then maybe keto's not for you. And that's cool. It's all right. It works for one person, doesn't work for another person. Find what helps you get into a calorie deficit, and that's really all that matters. And it takes some trial and error. You might do something and realize, you know what, maybe this isn't for me, because when I did it, I found that I had a hard time not overeating or whatever it may be. So it's definitely, for some people, they might get it right the first try, but it's just test and retest and, use your experience as data. Did I do well? Did I not? If you didn't, figure out, what do I need to do better next time?
Yep. And then to kind of go on the other extreme, so then you get these people who go on try to, perfect diet or whatever, 100% whole foods and all this stuff, and cut out everything, and that's the magic. Processed foods are bad. Well, it's not that processed foods are bad. It's just that they tend to make it easier to overeat, right? So let's go with a couple examples of extreme, kind of on the other end, of some processed food diets and experiments and studies that people did. So in 2010, this nutrition professor at Kansas, Mark Haub, he limited his calorie intake to 1,800 calories a day, which for most men, guys, that's going to put them in a slight deficit. That's about actually what we suggest to lose weight. So every day he consumed a can of green beans, a multivitamin, and protein shake. So that way he's kind of getting his minimum micronutrients and some minimum key macronutrients, which is the protein. Micronutrients is vitamins and minerals. So that was 1/3 of his diet. Then the other 2/3 was literally a Twinkie or Hostess sugary cake, and as well as Doritos, sugary cereals, and Oreos eaten throughout the day. So majority of his diet was junk food. He did it for 2 months straight, and he lost 27 pounds. So people be like, but you were eating sugar, how does that? It doesn't matter. He was in a calorie deficit, right? So, and then you would say, oh, but he ate a bunch of junk food. That's not good for his health. Well, he also was getting blood work done, and with the 27-pound weight loss, his LDL, which is bad cholesterol, dropped 20%. His HDL, good cholesterol, increased by 20%, and he reduced triglyceride levels by 39%. And this was all eating a diet, basically, that was almost completely junk food, and his body fat dropped 10%. So then there's another story. John Cisna, a science teacher documented himself in 2015 eating McDonald's every single day. He kept to a daily 2,000 calorie limit, but his food choices were whatever he wanted. So, he had fries, Big Macs, soda. Did this for 6 months. He lost over 60 pounds by the end, and all his health markers, so the blood work, improved. So he kind of had a big belly. It went down to nice and flat. Obviously that, when you lose 60 pounds, that's a good side effect. Along with that, back pain, knee pain, ulcers all disappeared. So that's another example. A third, last one we'll kind of go over is this guy Anthony. So not as scientific. He's a YouTuber from Colorado, but he also
YouTube is science.
YouTube is the new science.
Yeah.
He did an experiment where he ate 2,000 calories a day worth. Diego would like this, Coach Diego. He ate 2,000 calories a day worth of ice cream, along with 500 calories of either protein or alcohol.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
He did this. He did protein or alcohol. It's like two.
Because they're real similar.
So he did this for 100 days, and after it was all said and done, lost 32 pounds and had some abs. So
Diego should do all ice cream for like 3 months.
He could do it.
There's no doubt about
just
that.
keep that calorie in check. So, in his blood work, all improved. Nothing but positive health improvements. Blood lipids improved. Cholesterol, triglycerides, blood glucose decreased despite eating basically Ben and Jerry's every day. So, what this we're not saying then go on the extreme and just do this because. Again, it's really because those foods do make you want to eat more, so it's very hard to sit down with half a cup of ice cream, right? So
2 bites.
So really what we're getting at is it's, you can include those foods. It's just about your overall awareness and controlling your total calorie intake, and not going overboard. So, so again, making trade-offs and finding that balance, right? So, but in the end, I think we all want to look good and feel good. And what we want to get across is that, really the key to better health, improving your blood markers and your body composition is controlling your total intake, right? Not the specific foods. There's no magic foods.
Nope.
Even the healthy whole foods, right? Like, if you don't like chicken breast, then eat something else. If you don't really like meat, then eat, there's a way you can combine veggies and have a plant-based diet.
There's no one food that if you don't get it, you're just not going to lose weight. Like, it just doesn't work that way. It's not like, if you don't eat spinach, you're not going to lose any weight. Well, plenty of people lose weight without really eating much green to begin with. Not that I'm advocating for it, but people get a little caught up thinking, I have to eat salad all the time. And I could do a whole podcast on I eat salad. But, not thinking that you have to eat one thing or you're completely missing out or there's like a secret fat-burning food or, something wild like that. It's just
changing your habits.
Yeah, eat a little bit less.
for most people, it's awareness, right? Like, met with someone the other day, and they were, we're going over their stuff, and they were like feeling really guilty about their like 2 or 3 donuts they would have on Saturdays, with the family. But then we dug in more, and it's like, all right, you have three donuts on the weekend. Like that's, say they're 300 calories each, so that's 900 calories. But then digging a little more, they pour, when he cooks his eggs every morning, he pours oil in the pan, doesn't measure it or anything, and it's kind of heavy-handed with it. So a good heavy-handed pour of oil is going to be about at least 300 calories. That's being conservative, because a tablespoon's almost 200. So does that 6 days a week. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. That's 1,800 calories, right? So really,
you would never know you're eating.
Exactly. So he's like beating himself up over, the donuts and an experience he enjoys with his family, when really he could just change the habit of switch to like a quick spray with the spray stuff instead of pouring oil in the pan, and that's going to move him closer to lowering his calories, getting in a calorie deficit, losing weight, improving his health markers, and all that, right? So it's really, and that's comparing, okay, olive oil, which is touted as this amazing health elixir, versus donuts, right? But actually, cutting out the oil habit would be better for his overall health and body composition. So it's like finding those little trade-offs and pockets in your diet to get you in the calorie amount you need to support the body weight you're shooting for, and then finding those trade-offs you have to make. So
and those hidden calories, and like we'll call them like the here and there's, like those are really what get people, and they're not aware of. Like you said, like oil. Okay, it's just a little bit of oil. It's not a lot. That's barely any calories, people will think. Or just a ton of mayo on a sandwich versus like a light layer. That might be the difference of another 200 calories or whatever it is. And those add up. And you do that across the day, across the week. That's an extra couple thousand calories probably across a week that you really had no idea you were eating. And that you didn't know you could really cut back on and make a difference. So, those really get you, and it's just being aware of them and checking in and being honest with yourself. If you're not losing weight, their calories are somewhere, wherever, I don't know where they are, but, they can be sneaky like that with oils and whatnot. And I've talked to, work with somebody in the recent amount of time who had no idea how much oil they were eating, and that was a big one. Cutting back on that and only tracking the oil really, and starting to lose weight because of just bringing that awareness to how much they ate daily, and that made a big difference.
Yep. Another example, with the client is he was like, wanting to lose weight, stalled out, and was like, my wife cooks these really good dinners, and I think I'm gonna have to give those up, and I enjoy it. I like not having to think or like have some boring meal. But I was like, well, let's dig in a little, look at other stuff. And, quickly we got in and found out, well, he has a jar of peanuts that he has at his work, and he would eat those in between meals and just randomly grab them. Like, who knows how many he ate a day? He said he would just kind of eat them mindlessly, right? I was like, well, let's cut that out, right, first. Is that a trade-off you can make? Like, you cut out that so that you don't have to change anything about dinner or your wife's meals? And he said, yeah, and then goes about, and 2 weeks later, he's lost 4 pounds, right? So that was the putting him in a calorie surplus and cutting those out, especially since it's a daily thing. And a handful of peanuts again is about close to 200 calories. So you're grabbing 4 a day, not thinking nothing of it because it's not a regular meal.
And that's just a couple.
Yeah, that's 800 calories right there a day. So you do that 5 days a week, 6 days a week. It's a lot of calories you have to to account for.
Yep.
So as you notice, we're talking about, these fat-based foods. It's not that fat's bad, it's just that it's calorie dense, right? So 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, 1 gram of carbohydrate is 4 calories, 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So it's just easy to get your calories bumped up. That's why, like, a lot of times when, people bash carbs, they're not really bashing just carbs, because most people aren't. I've never met someone who's like just eating plain rice and plain potatoes and are like, oh, I'm struggling
and overdoing
I'm keep gaining weight. It's how do we eat? We normally eat carbs and fats together, so they just end up being a calorie bomb, right? So when someone's like, oh, I cut out carbs and lost weight, then you talk to them, it's like, well, they ate French fries, right? Well, French fries aren't just carbs. Like, yeah, it's a potato that's fried in oil, right? So half or more than half of the calories from French fries are from fat calories, right? So it's fat and carbs, so, or when someone has a baked potato, or then it's also tons of sour cream and butter on it, right? Which again are fat calories. Exactly. So you see where we're getting at. Again, not that so carbs aren't bad, fats aren't bad. Not just too
calories.
Too much
bad.
of anything is bad, right? So too much chicken breast could be bad. Too much broccoli could be bad. Now it'd be really hard to eat
have you ever
that
met
much
somebody
broccoli.
Who ate too much chicken breast?
So yeah.
I haven't.
So, the key takeaway is you have to be, for what is the best diet, is to be more mindful of everything you eat. That's why sometimes tracking for a little while, plugging in to something like MyFitnessPal is good, because it just makes you more aware. And again, that's not perfect either, because sometimes we plug in the wrong things and people get really uptight about hitting exact numbers, and it's a skill and it takes practice too. But in general, once you start journaling or logging, the real magic is that you just start making better decisions anyways.
And
it's not that you're
consistent too with what you're doing.
Yeah, it's not that you're hitting a perfect calorie amount. It's that you're now thinking like, oh, I gotta log this, like, should I eat it? And then you say no more, right? The real answer, a simple answer, is you just need to say no more, right? So that's the key. So now some of these like popular diets are good because they have very strict rules that make it easy to say no, right? So if you're like, I can no carb foods whatsoever, so then all of a sudden, you cut out more than half your diet. Well, what do you think's going to happen? Like, you're going to lose weight. It's not because those foods that are allowed are magic. It's really typically the magic's more in what you don't eat more than what you do eat. So it's just that you're eating less, right? So you could simply not change anything you eat at all. Eat the same stuff you currently eat and just eat a little bit less of everything, and
you're going to be good.
That could take a lot of people a long way.
Yeah. I mean, that's mostly what it is. And it's just, another one's like, you're just going to be a little hungry.
Yep.
You stop eating as much food, you're going to want the same amount, and you have to be okay with that.
Yep. So for most people, a good balance is, not getting too devoted to some cultish diet, because then you start getting issues with you start thinking certain foods are bad, and if you have them, you freak out, and it develops eating disorders and tons of stuff. It's more to just, again, it's boring, it's moderate, it's basic, but have the base of your diet be whole foods, and then have some treats from time to time, and just be mindful of snacking and everything you eat, and that's really a good place to start.
Don't get married to your method. That's it. Just because then
and then just
feel bad.
Chip away at things you enjoy and that are livable and sustainable, right? So again, like we said, for some people that is plant-based, for some people maybe it is carnivore. Again, most people are going to find moderation to be a good place. So a little,
it's usually a bell curve. People are going to fall at the extremes, but most people are going to be in the middle where they can sustain. So it's a good place for most people to try to exist.
Yep, and if you're overweight, the answer you can't. The one thing you're not going to be able to avoid is you're going to have to eat less, or drink less. Don't forget, liquid calories count the same. So, somewhere you're going to have to do less of something. That's unavoidable. That's the trade-off. And losing weight requires to be hungry some. That means you're in a deficit, so hunger is not an emergency. We've talked about that a lot before.
Yes.
But those are all things you can deal with. I think the main key is understanding from the get-go, the jump, that the best diet is really for you to figure out for yourself, and that don't fall into the traps and the extremes. They're typically not sustainable, and if it's not sustainable, again, what gets you there keeps you there. So it more than likely can get you there, but it's not going to keep you there, and that's really the goal, right? No one wants to just lose 20 pounds. We want to lose 20 pounds and never gain it back, right? That's at least what I think, and I know the people we work with, what their goal is. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah,
hopefully get you back on your Fit for Life radio kick.
We'll be back every week.
Well, let's maybe not every week. We don't want to
We'll
make
do every
promises
other
we can't keep.
week. I can keep any promise.
We
but-
fall, then we fall off for 6 months.
Find what's sustainable, right?
But yeah, so we'll be back and have guests on and other coaches and topics that you guys want to hear, and from just stuff that we talk, conversations we end up having with clients. We'll try to share that we think will help with everyone on here.
Yeah.
And yeah, any feedback, just let us know. You can leave us a message online. You can come by and see us in the gym
Yep.
at Coastal Strength and Fitness. Yell at us, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we take that pretty well.
All right. So if you can, remember, if you enjoyed it, to leave a review on iTunes. We appreciate that. And we will be back with some more jazz here in the future.
We'll see you.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
As always, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to learn more, check us out at coastalfitnessva.com or garydeagle.com. We'll see you next time.